All right, what's up, everybody? We've got a surprise Jankyard bonus game recording here. Just jumping into it now. Between my two fellow Jankyard co-hosts, Treatment and KillerCactus. This is a Phoenix League game that they have scheduled. The scheduling was cruel this week in pitting two close friends against each other. But that gives us the opportunity to do some bonus recording. So we've got Killer on Namine. Just assume that I'm pronouncing it whichever way you prefer the rest of the game. And we have Treatment on Odette. And Killer is going to start out the gate with Namine side action and choke. So both Phoenixborn have fully exhausted abilities for 2 rounds, which is going to reduce the enter the fray pressure from the Odette here pretty substantially. I don't know anything about either of these decks. We are constantly sharing deck ideas, but for obvious reasons, these two have not made it into chat at any point, so I am coming into this completely blind as to what we're going to see. Treatment is doing some meditating here. It looks like he's building out his spell board. So spell boards are, we've got Bone Crow and Frostback Bear, and now Butterfly Monk on the treatment side. I think getting those Bone Crow triggers without Enter the Fray is going to be a tricky proposition, and meanwhile Killer is setting up a Creeper board, so Creeper and Tidal Crab. I hope there's Sword of the Fray on Odette's side. Oh, well, that's one way to... that is definitely one way to get a trigger. Oh, that won't trigger Bone Crow, but it does keep the Creeper off the board. So Treatment's just aggressively passing, saying, let's run down the clock on me, refreshing Enter the Fray, you do whatever it is you want. I don't need any units right now. I just need you to ideally pass the round. And Killer responds by, I'm wondering if he drew into that Encore, but meditating the Creeper book off the board. This may just be a typical first 5 play for him. And planning to bring it back now with an Encore. It's back in his hand. Alright, so no Sword of Virtue hiding in Odette's hand. It's a Crypt Guardian. I don't know how that Guardian's gonna show up. I think it could be pretty valuable to be able to exhaust a seed that survives round to round, keep it from popping. So that's interesting. We'll be interested to see what happens here. Meanwhile, Namine is going to have should have an opportunity to keep a seed. We'll see how this sequencing plays out. She's only going to have her 1 guard, so it's really going to be a matter of whether or not she can get tokens on the seedling and bump its health enough. A Crow does not look like it's in the offing for Odette. At least not right away. Let me open up discard piles here so we can see what they've exhausted. I don't know how much reach Odette has. Clearly there's a burn plan here, but at least a couple burn play pieces are in the discard with Final Cry and Molten Gold, and meanwhile we've got Namine's lost 1 Frostbite. I assume she's got the full set. Alright, so Killer attacked Crypt Guardian with Indigo Creeper, which prompted the Odette guard. And now we see Seafoam Snapper. So I think that was probably the original 5th card in hand. Which will bring in the seedling. Yeah, so he eats the creeper, puts the seedling into play. Now the only, there is one chance to get an attack in on the seedling here, but that's almost certainly going to prompt a guard. So we'll see if the treatment bothers to do that. May as well try and break the guard. Don't see a way for the Bone Crow to be... Oh, interesting. So he chooses to attack the Snapper. I still think Namine can probably afford to spend her guard on stopping this attack. I don't see a Bone Crow coming, and if there's no Bone Crow, I don't see how the seedling isn't going to pop. Because I think the play after this is Tidal Crab, side action, unburden onto the seedling. Yep, so you mean guards, so I think we'll see Tidal Crab, unburden here from Killer. Now it's going to survive one attack from anything. And then we see side action, Blossom, next turn. And I think treatment's in a good spot of trouble. Yeah, so he decides to pass to hold blockers back because he knows he can't stop the trees coming out. The last step in the life cycle of an Indigo Creeper. Bright Thorns, or Brilliant Thorns, rather. Oh, interesting. I think he's going to pop that seedling. I don't see a lot of value in keeping it from round to round. I'm not sure the sequencing matters a ton, or if it does, I'm not seeing why it would matter to do it in this order. I don't think the treatment can swing. The crab's not valuable enough to remove right now to take another 3 damage. I think you have to pop the seedling this round because you're not going to kill the Crypt Guardian otherwise, and then you just have an exhausted seedling. So that seedling is going to pop for Brilliant Thorns. Yeah, so the treatment passes. So he's just... Interesting. So he could kill the Crypt Guardian. So he's obviously deprioritizing face damage, prioritizing board control. So expect we'll see pop seedling. Yep, so 2 Brilliant Thorns. Now Odette has the choice. She can initiate the trade, which she will. And I would expect Killer to remove Frostback Bear here. I mean, as the Creepers player, the long game is yours. Yep. So he's going to remove the bear. Bone Crow can kill Tidal Crab, which salvages some value for treatment. So it was that was right of the treatment to do that, to get the Bone Crow value. So the boards actually aren't horribly uneven. It was a good sequence by the treatment to be able to play the Crow and have a blocker on board. So we've basically got 2 1-dice units on board. One round closer to Odette being free from her Namine chains. And Odette going ahead and just dropping the Frostback Bear right away. Meditating up. To a time power. That's interesting. Suggests there may be a reaction in hand. He may also be trying to set up a side action, like an Adept Duelist maybe, to remove a seed down the line. Or just preparing. Meditation he knows he's going to want to make. So, I wonder what options Killer's reviewing here. Obviously can't see his hand, so we don't know what he's sitting on. Interesting that he's going to send in the Snapper. I guess he's inviting a Bone Crow block, which is then a unit that, his Snapper could eat. Ah, that explains it. So he's going to use the token on Snapper for Crescendo, and there was the reaction that Odette was setting up. So nicely done by Odette. Treatment to keep up his bear. And he's got the option of 4 to face right here, but I think against the creeper player you need to be opting to try and build your board. Shadowfire agrees. Very nice play. It's always good when facing a sympathy deck to keep in mind that Crescendo exists. Alright, so he's taking 2 damage, basically using the Bone Crow as a burn spell here. He doesn't really have battlefield slots to spare, so hopefully that Bone Crow doesn't get stuck in his craw. Never want to crow craw. It's bad. But in any case, he's got gets the 2 points of damage. He's still got the bear back. Now Namine is going to start her creeper engine again. No one should let me commentate these things by myself. Terrible idea. Alright, do we have an ice trap? That would fit the plan in the first round. No ice trap, so wonder what the option is here. Notable that Killer hasn't had to meditate at all for the time power, so if he's got his own Fate Reflection, which he couldn't have played to stop Crescendo because he'd played his one reaction, he may have that. He wouldn't have had to signal it. But I wonder if Odette is thinking about Ping Fester on the seedling here. Presumably if Ping Fester were in the offing, it'd be Windmill Slammed here. I mean, Killer either has the Fate Reflection or he doesn't, and you don't have another turn to diddle. So, not looking like Ping Fester's in the offing. This matchup looks a lot better if Odette has Enter the Fray up, but I have a feeling Namine's going to turn it off as soon as she gets the opportunity next round too. But the play with Odette, just to say, Sword of Virtue. So that's another 2 dice, hard removal, immune to Fate Reflection. I can imagine Treatment was at least a little worried about going this many dice down, 3 dice down to his opponent, but I think definitely worth it in this case. Turns off the engine. Unless there's an encore, there's not an obvious way for Namine to get another creeper this round. She doesn't have 2 sympathy that she'd need for like a title shift and then creeper play. She might have generosity, I guess. But barring that and encore, I think Treatment may have dodged the creepers for another round. Yep. Okay, so for now, Namine is putting up her own wall here. She's got nothing that can stop a frostback bear right now. She meditates a channel magic and a blood chains from deck. Okay, so she's going full powers. There's nothing she could so she could recur the raptor herder if she wanted to go wide here. Treatment passes, still feeling like he's got more value on the board and maybe sitting on a Nature's Wrath in hand and wanting to see whether or not Namine loads up her board further. Interesting decision to pass. I feel like, I mean, the mind games are ever present, but interesting decision not to just bring in one more butterfly monk, cover up the attack, unless you were trying to either threaten or reserve the option for Nature's Wrath. Alright, so Killer plays a naked Seafoam Snapper, so nothing to eat, so no token. But, of course, the Title Crab can unburden itself, put the token on the Snapper. So now it's protected from a possible Wrath. Treatment also thought he'd had a nice way of keeping a Snapper from getting a token, perhaps, but Killer saw the way through. That's an interesting attack. Basically trading 2 for 2 if Namine chooses to guard, as that will leave something else unblocked. Nope, just lets it die, preserving the life total, and giving himself the option to remove the old salt without spending a more valuable one attacking unit. May have been that Odette was trying or thinking about getting a Crow trigger, but he got the opportunity to play Crow. He chose not to use it. So I wonder if that ceremonial die has another purpose. Okay, so Treatment considered it. He is going to use his guard. Looks good unless a Huntmaster comes down, but I think if a Huntmaster comes down, it's a problem regardless. Now, is this the moment to play Butterfly Monk? Okay. Is he trying to set up another Bone Crow trigger here? Maybe he's... No, so Namine will guard. So Killer has 3 to face if he wants it. Or he can remove the old salt for free with the Title Crab. No, so he's choosing to keep a wide strategy on. Now, this would be a good moment to have Wrath if you are Treatment. He may have been waiting it out. We suspected that may be why he hadn't played the Butterfly Monk earlier. If he was hoping to dissuade or bluff the Wrath, that bluff has been called. So he's either got it now or he doesn't. He doesn't have his own herder in the bin to recur. But he does have one in hand, so that's what he was saving the nature die for. And Killer, true to his maxim, has a frog up to remove a blocker on the swing. which it looks like he's doing. So he moves the herder. He'll be swinging for 6. Nope, he's going to attack the Old Salt. So he's not, again, not prioritizing face damage. If treatment has reach in the deck, he decided not to use it. Don't think he has any way of getting a Bone Crow trigger right now. Yeah, he passes. Now, if you want to get the Raptor hatchling value, you got to go face here to get 3 attackers. So Namine will have top of round with a pretty scary board. If there's another crescendo, that's potentially an option to consider for Namine. Now she could do all that. She could crescendo, swing, top of next round, and still hit her calming melody to turn off Enter the Fray for 1 more round. Now that, yeah. Okay, so treatment passes. He's got nothing to spend that ceremonial on. Killer plays Encore. What's he pulling back? Crescendo. So he's setting up the crescendo play for the top of next round, top of round swing. Whoops. Treatment didn't want to play Fester. He probably wanted to recur something and pass. So probably, I would guess the herder is what he's looking for. Or maybe Old Salt. Okay. Killer did roll Sympathy Class that he needs for the crescendo that he pulled back to hand with Encore at the end of last round. So that play is definitely on for him. He could take a more measured attack, say attack with the herders, hatchling, crescendo the bear away. We'll see what he chooses to do here. Okay, drawing first, always wise. If you've got a way to draw, probably do that first in case it changes what you want to do. Now we see the face attack, and he is going full bore, everybody in. He's got the snapper to clear battlefield space. Still think this potentially risks some clog. It means battlefield's only 6, so he's going to have 1 battlefield slot. But he is threatening 8 damage. Could have Molten in hand, so could be showing game here unless treatment decides to block, which will itself clear some battlefield slots. I think he is playing the crescendo. He's got the... Yeah, there we go. The sympathy die got spent. Okay, there goes Bear. So Bone Crow's... He could... Yeah, so blocking there, so he's not opening a battlefield slot. Namine has 3 Nature's Wraths in the bin, so Killer doesn't have an easy way of clearing his battlefield if he wanted to. It'll be interesting to see what the play is here. I assume Snapper's coming right now. Oof, hate to see another sort of Virtue go. Okay, so meditating up for Snapper dice. Okay, but choosing not to play the Snapper yet. So that's another way to clear battlefield space, a really nice one. So he's Bloodchained the Tidal Crab away. So I think he was setting up that's the reason why he put the crescendo damage on Tidal Crab. He knew it was going to survive the attack regardless. so it would have a damage for blood chain. So thinking a couple turns ahead, realizing he'd probably want to blood chain something, setting up the higher value 2 exhaustion token blood chains play by making sure he had a damaged unit to sacrifice. So really good foresight by Killer to set that play up. Butterfly Monk at least gives treatment the option for some healing. He had foregone the Butterfly Monk last round to play the Herder, so missed out on a little bit of healing. But he is definitely in dangerous waters now. Namine still needs to kill one more thing to really be in a position where she can get full value from creepers. Because presumably the crab is the creeper token engine, so you're going to fill the battlefield to start the creeper life cycle again with creeper plus crab. Which means no room for Brilliant Thorns. But there's creeper. It's very nice to have an alert defender. If you're Odette, you've seen some removal go by. There's not obvious removal in the colors that Namine has left to shadows, but you have to assume she really wants to use her time die on the title crab. So feels like a safe night play right there. You'd really like to somehow tempt out a guard before you swing the Hammer Knight, if at all possible. So Butterfly Monk swings at Creeper, so I mean either guards, which I think you can't do because Hammer Knight then basically has free reign, or you let it go. He's not meditated in advance for Title Crab, so it's going to sit at 2 health for at least a little while. Do you play the Bone Crow here if you were Odette? Yes. But no Ice Trap, unfortunately, for the Seedling. But that Seedling's going to be sitting at 2 health for at least a little while. One more turn. Is there a way to take advantage of that? One nice thing to do here would be ping, Seedling, swing Bone Crow. So ping Seedling with the frog, swing the Bone Crow. You immediately lose it, or you guard it. But even if you guard, if you unburden Title Crab into the Seedling, you've lost your guard, and now the Hammer Knight removes it. Of course, Odette's taking 4 to the face. In that scenario, she really can't afford to take 4 to the face. I'm just going to trust that they know what they're doing and are cool with it. I have no idea what's going on. They seem to be backing something up. Killer needed to meditate more, it looks like. Okay, so Killer certainly wants treatment to be thinking about Molten Gold. So treatment is in the tank here, trying to figure out what his outs are. I think the really big issue with any swing is the possibility of a counter swing. Being at 5 health is a really tough position to be in. I think you can get the seedling if you want it. The question is, can you survive after you do that? That really comes down to what else is in Odette's hand. Well, treatment was both in the tank and disconnected. Okay, so he's going to try this Bone Crow into seedling play here, which again either kills the seedling or I think probably more likely prompts the guard. Right, so Killer is recognizing that the fact that he hadn't meted for the crab earlier meant that he couldn't play crab and unburden it. Now, as it happens, I don't think that would have changed anything about this play, because then the seedling is on 3 health instead of 2, but I guess it does mean that you could have converted your seedling into 1 Brilliant Thorn if you guard here. Right, so now Namine is basically going to offer, okay, you can kill my seedling, but then I'm going to do 4 damage to your face, and what are you going to do about that? It'd be really nice if Odette had an Adept Duelist here to take out the seedling, but actually that wouldn't even work. I think that's game. I don't see a way of stopping 2 damage from getting through, barring Sword of Virtue. Even then, I don't. You need some sort of side action removal here. Treatment. If treatment were on a frog, no, that's it. Yeah, I don't think he's got an out. Well played to both of them. Let's see if he swings before he concedes. Goes out firing. Waiting for the decision by treatment, seeing if he's got any final outs before he concedes, or officially concedes, or concedes by flinging an angry Hammer Knight into the void. Namine getting max value here, just completely shutting down Enter the Fray, which is really a super valuable way of controlling seedlings in a typical game. Pivoting to Raptor shenanigans, which Killer's fond of and are good. And Killer taking advantage of the fact that he had the Bloodchains in hand to self-sack and Snapper on the spellboard to be able to take a 5-wide swing at the beginning of this round, which really set up all of the decision-making that's led us to this moment. I don't... Oh, that does not look like it's going to work. Gets you a health, but now you have to deal with Brilliant Thorns, so I think that's still game. Unless I am missing something important, which is always a possibility. But yeah, when I'm in a mood, nothing does it quite like a massive countryside wiping dust storm or whatever is depicted in Nature's Wrath. Looks like a dust storm. Nature tears down that which it finds detestable, like those exhausted raptor herders. All right, the final act of desperation. Night into Namine. I don't think there are blood points in Phoenix League, so this is really up to really up to Killer as to what he wants to do here. Oh, standstill, stunting. All right, and the thorns will end it. GG. Oh, he concedes. All right, well, thanks. Hope you enjoyed this one. Glad we were able to get a game in between friends. Hope we're all still friends after this game. And see you in the interwebs on the podcast. All right, take care.